Welcome back to the cryptowrld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now, Bitcoin just officially confirmed a breakout into new record all-time highs. And the last time this happened, we saw a massive move towards the upside. So in just a moment, I'll be sharing my exact Bitcoin trading strategy because yes, I just opened a new Bitcoin trade, which I'll talk about in just a moment, and telling you how exactly I plan to profit from the very next Bitcoin move about to happen soon, alongside the fact that the funding rates are still quite neutral, telling us that this breakout is sustainable. And I'll explain why that is in just a moment, alongside Ethereum coming in for another test of this key area of resistance, while the price of XRP is now officially ending this short-term bearish divergence. So I'll be talking about all of that and more later in the video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, starting off on the 4-day Bitcoin price chart, and right now this super trend indicator is still sitting in the green, indicating a larger bullish trend. And if we're taking a look at this weekly Bitcoin chart, at least for now, of course, the price is forming higher highs, while the RSI is still currently forming lower highs on the weekly time frame, which means there's still a possible bearish divergence forming on the weekly time frame. But I want to make this clear, at least for now, this new bearish divergence is not currently confirmed, so it's not playing out as of right now. It's just something to pay attention to in case it confirms maybe in a few weeks or a few months from now. But as of right now, clearly the momentum is simply bullish. As I've been saying for a long time now on the channel, obviously we recently saw a bullish crossover in the weekly Bitcoin MACD just a couple of weeks ago, and that obviously confirmed, and since then we have seen more bullish momentum, as I've been saying here on the channel since then. But obviously even before we confirmed the bullish crossover just a couple of weeks ago, we were already trending towards the bullish crossover for the last 1 to 2 months, for around 1 month leading up to the bullish crossover here. So once again, since all the way back down here, I've been bullish, and I am still bullish on the price of Bitcoin when it comes to the larger momentum here. And if we're simply taking a look at the last couple of bullish crossovers in the weekly Bitcoin MACD, what came next was obviously much more bullish price action for the price of Bitcoin over the next few weeks and months. Remember, each one of these candles is one entire week. So we're talking about a period of months here where we are most likely going to see a lot of bullish price action. And so overall, not a lot has changed on the larger timeframes here over the last 1 day. Obviously, for now, we're still looking very bullish, as I've been saying for a while now on the channel. And if we're taking a look at this 3-day time frame, clearly we are now officially breaking out into new all-time record highs. We've cleared the previous all-time highs for the price of Bitcoin. And when it comes to support, if for whatever reason we see any little pullback in the short term, basically expect support at the previous all-time highs. So at roughly around 108 to 109,000, we're likely going to find some support around there. And of course, we also have a lot of support at some lower levels, like for example, around 105K, I would expect some support there, and a lot of support at 102,000 if we were to actually get back there. I'm not saying we're going to those prices. I'm just saying if we see a pullback, these are the levels of support to watch out for. But clearly, when it comes to the larger trend and momentum for the price of Bitcoin, we are obviously very much bullish, which means expect more bullish price action with the occasional little slowdown here and there during the trend. And of course, not only have we just seen a confirmed daily candle close above the previous all-time high, we've now officially confirmed a 3-day candle close only slightly above, but still above the previous all-time record high. And the last time this happened, especially on the 3-day time frame, was right around here in November 2024, where we saw a confirmed breakout with a candle close above the previous all-time high, which at that time was at around 74,000 approximately. And we can see what came next for the price of Bitcoin once we confirmed a breakout into new record all-time highs. Obviously, the price did not stop there. We continued pumping for the following weeks, if not months here, once again, from early November all the way up until basically the end of the year. We just kept pumping throughout November and December. But it was especially over the following weeks, for the following 1 month or so after the breakout, that's where we saw most of the bullish price action, which means continue to expect more bullish price action now that we're breaking out into new record all-time highs. And just be aware of the fact that, of course, we don't always see pullbacks with these breakouts here. Obviously, if you're waiting for a breakout once we broke out above 74,000 back in November, if you're waiting for a major pullback in order to basically enter the price of Bitcoin, to buy some Bitcoin to profit from the next bullish move, obviously you would have been waiting for months and months after we had already played out the bullish move and a major pullback here. And obviously by this time you probably would have been afraid to buy Bitcoin after we saw this major pullback. And so some sometimes you simply just have to pull the trigger when the opportunity presents itself, which is what I've done with my latest Bitcoin trade I'll share in just a moment. But first, of course, looking at some potential signals that I'll be watching out for as this bullish move continues. As I explained in my last video just yesterday, once we continue further towards the upside in the RSI and then start to pull back a little bit in the RSI, that would be a sign of weakness, essentially a bearish divergence. And so right now, of course, we're just entering into overbought territories. We're not yet seeing a decline in the RSI, but even though we're overbought, of course, we were seeing the same thing last time. Back in November, we were overbought at the breakout, and then obviously we continued pumping into December, and then it was around December, after we had already seen a major pump, and while the price was still heading towards the upside, we were starting to see a decline in the RSI here on the 3-day time frame. And at the same time as the RSI beginning to decline, we were also seeing a decline in the histogram within the MACD indicator. In other words, we were moving towards a bearish crossover, losing bullish momentum while the price was starting to slow down. So that was a sign of weakness, telling us we're basically getting closer towards a potential top here, at least a shorter term top. And so in the coming weeks or months, as this breakout continues, I'll be paying attention to these possible signs of weakness in these indicators right here on the 3-day time frame, and of course some other time frames which I'll be sharing here on the channel in order to potentially take a bit of profits out of long positions and things like that. But overall, clearly we're currently bullish. The momentum once again is still bullish, as I've been saying, since much lower prices. And if we're taking a look at the shorter term on this 12-hour time frame, there's still a possible bearish divergence here just on the 12-hour time frame, but I want to make it clear, at least for now, this is not currently confirmed because we've not yet fully confirmed a lower high in place in the 12-hour Bitcoin RSI. And considering this is only on the 12-hour chart, not like the weekly chart or the 3-day chart, even if this confirms, it would likely just result in a bit of a short-term pullback, a short-term cool-off, kind of like what we saw just here, but not necessarily the end of the bullish trend. But remember, right now that is not currently confirmed. I'm just pointing it out in case it does confirm, possibly in the next few days. But right now, once again, overall, we are still currently looking very bullish. And if we're taking a quick look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, right now we have a lot of liquidity in the shorter term starting to build just above the price of Bitcoin again, which is sitting in between around 112,000 to 113,000, which means it is quite likely we could soon take out that liquidity with another short-term bullish move. And we can see that over the last few days here, that's exactly what's been playing out time and time again. The price basically trades sideways a little bit, we form liquidity above the price, and then we go towards the upside to take out that liquidity, see another short-term cool-off, and then form liquidity above the price, take out that liquidity, and so on and so forth. It just continues to repeat here in the short term, and we're doing it once again. And now obviously we also have a bit of liquidity starting to form at around 105 to 106k as well, so keep that in mind. But for now, once again, the momentum is still on the bullish side, so we also have to consider that. And of course, we also have to consider the fact that between the current price and around 105k, between that, we also have support based on the previous all-time high, which would likely act as support now. And if we're taking a quick look at the Bitcoin and crypto funding rates, all of these funding rates pretty much across all of these exchanges are extremely neutral. In case you're new to all of this, the neutral rate is 0.01%. So right now we could clearly see most of the funding rates are roughly around the neutral rate. They're not really overly positive or overly negative. And so this tells us that at the current prices in the market is balanced. I'm talking about between the longs and the shorts, and between the futures market and the spot market. The market is balanced right now, which tells us a lot of this bullish move here is driven by the spot market, which is sustainable buying pressure, because essentially this is not being bought up by a bunch of over leveraged long positions that can just be easily wiped out and cause a major crash. And usually during bull market tops, that's what we end up seeing. We usually see very high funding rates, well above the neutral rate. But right now we are not currently there, at least not yet. We're not really seeing a lot of hype, even though we are currently at all-time record highs for the price of Bitcoin. So right now, this is telling us that the current Bitcoin move is sustainable and healthy. We are not unbalanced. We're very much balanced in the market right now. And so with all of that information in mind, what is my trading strategy for the price of Bitcoin? What am I actually doing with my own money? And well, right now, and clearly if you've been following my channel over the last few weeks, you'll know that I'm still in this long position over on my 2-bit account, essentially a swing trade that I entered weeks ago now on the channel, when I was telling you every day since then that we are bullish. Expect more bullish price action, and I've been saying that since I entered this trade at 88,000. And just giving you a quick update on this trade, because I will get to a new trade trade, which I'll talk about in just a moment, but giving you a quick update right now. And over the last one day, I've moved my stop loss a little bit further into profits here, and looking at the current profits for this trade, being very transparent, the realized profits still around 4,600 USDT and unrealized profits close to 12,000 USDT. And the trading strategy with this swing trade moving forward is just to slowly move the stop loss further and further into profits as the trade moves further into profits here, which basically secures profits in the worst case scenario. And then a potential price targets, points of resistance, if we see short-term warning signals confirm, like a possible bearish divergence here, if it confirms, I may take a little bit of profits out of the long position, but still overall stay long. And so that is my current trading strategy for this trade. Once again, not a lot has changed over the last one day, but a lot of people have been commenting on my latest videos that I've already entered this trade weeks ago. And what about all the new people that are just finding my channel over the last few days, over the last 1 week that missed this trade, which I shared on the channel back then? And for that, for all of the new people here on the channel, I've just now entered a new Bitcoin long position at the latest breakout right here. Just over the last one day, I only just entered this position. So obviously right now the price of Bitcoin is still pretty close to the current entry price for this long position. And obviously before I even entered this trade, I talked about exactly this in my last video before I made the move. So there's no excuses here. Once again, I said I'm likely going to open a new long position once we confirm a breakout here above this previous high. I explained exactly that and my trading strategy in my last video before I opened this trade. And so for everyone that's new on the channel, this is the new trading opportunity, the new trade I'm sharing here on the channel. And currently this is around a $120,000 Bitcoin long position. So overall, once again, I'm still very much long on the price of Bitcoin, very much bullish on Bitcoin, as I've been saying for around a month now on the channel, since much lower prices. And basically my plan with this trade is what I said in my last video before I made the trade, once again, to simply trade the breakout into new all-time highs. So essentially, if for example, we opened a trade out here at around 74, 75K, breaking out above these previous highs back in November, took that long position up towards where we started to see some warning signals, declines in momentum, and then took profits around those levels, obviously you would have done very well with that trade. And so the idea around this long position is basically the same thing, just a breakout trading opportunity, trading this new all-time high breakout. And currently I have my stop loss at around break even. So obviously the trade has moved slightly into profits since I opened the trade just a matter of hours ago. And then I have placed my stop loss, as you can see, right at my entry price pretty much. And in case you're wondering, I'm taking this trade right here over on BTNext. So if you want to take trades just like this for yourself to make a lot of easy profits in the crypto market, like what I'm doing right now, and I share here on the channel pretty much every day here on the channel. If you want to do this for yourself, obviously you have to be set up, ready to go on a crypto exchange. And personally, once again, I'm taking this trade over on BTNext. So I'll make sure to leave a link to BTNext below this video in the description and in the pinned comment. And if you use that link, it'll take you to this sign up page right here where you can claim some massive trading bonuses. Like for example, up to 35,000 in USDT, you can claim using the link below this video just by trading crypto. But if you're not one of these larger traders here, you can also claim some deposit bonuses. Like for example, if you deposit just $100, you get a $20 bonus. If you deposit $1,000, you get a $200 bonus over on BTNext, but only if you use that link. And so if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, or if you're preparing to take the next trading opportunity, definitely get set up, ready to go over here. Once again, the first link down below this video. And in case you're wondering, BTNext is a no KYC exchange, which means you can access it from basically any country in the world without needing any KYC. But as always, check your local regulations when it comes to trading crypto. And for whatever reason, if you don't want BTNext as an exchange, there's also 2bit as another option out there, another exchange that I'm also trading on right now. This is my other long position over on 2bit. So I'll also make sure to leave a link to 2bit below this video. And if you use that link, it'll take you to this page where you can also claim some massive trading bonuses, like for example, up to $50,000 you can claim with the link below this video, and also a $30 sign up bonus and a 20% deposit rebate up to a max of 200 USDT. So basically the same thing as the BTNext deposit rebate. And so once again, if you're taking these trades for yourself, or if you're getting ready to take the next trading opportunity that I'll share here on the channel, get set up, ready to go using those links if you want to claim those massive bonuses. But with that being said, taking a look at Ethereum on the daily time frame, and right now Ethereum is continuing this short-term bounce from this retracement level, sitting at roughly around 2.4k, acting as strong support. And we're currently coming in for another test of this very important area of resistance in between around 2.7k to 2.8k. And so obviously we should continue to expect a lot of resistance in that area, which is precisely where we rejected last time, and obviously all the way back here as well, back in February 2025. But if we can finally see a confirmed breakout with at least a daily candle close confirming above 2.8k and actually holding that level, in that situation, I would expect a continued bullish move up towards around 3.2k to 3.3k as the next major target. But once again, for now, continue to expect a lot of resistance in between 2.7 to 2.8k. And over the last one day, we've clearly now ended this short-term bearish divergence. And of course, I talked about this over the last couple of days. So first of all, around a week ago, I was saying it's likely we're going to see a bit of a pullback in the short term. And then a couple of days ago, I was saying expect mostly neutral price action, really not so much bearish price action anymore. We're essentially reaching around the bottom for this short-term pullback is what I said over the last few days here. But now that we've clearly formed not only higher highs in the price and higher lows in the price on the 4-hour time frame, we've also just done the same thing in the RSI, which is bullish price structure and a sign telling us that this bearish divergence is now over. It has already played its part. And overall, honestly, just expect similar price action for Ethereum as to what Bitcoin is doing. So for example, if Bitcoin continues this breakout into new all-time highs, that will really help Ethereum and a lot of the altcoin market with playing out some bullish price action and help Ethereum with a possible breakout here. But as I've explained recently here on the channel, usually Bitcoin, when it comes to an all-time high breakout, Bitcoin makes its move first and then altcoins catch up later, or sometimes some altcoins don't even catch up at all. But basically Bitcoin makes its move first and then altcoins are delayed. And so that's one of the reasons as to why I'm taking these long positions on Bitcoin and not necessarily longing Ethereum or longing altcoins, because once again, usually Bitcoin moves first and then altcoins try to catch up later. And so overall, those are my expectations and things to watch out for Ethereum. And if we're taking a look at Solana on the 3-day time frame, right now Solana is still playing out this bullish divergence, which means continue to expect a massive bullish relief, of effectively a bullish trend, which I've been saying since all the way back down here. And obviously that's been perfectly playing out as I've been predicting. And if we're taking a look at the daily time frame, we're also holding above this key level of support at around 166 to 168. So continue to expect a lot of support around there. And as for resistance, we could find some resistance at around 184, but the next major area of resistance is in between 191 to 200. And if we can finally see a confirmed breakout with ideally at least a daily candle close confirming above 200, in that situation, expect a continued move up towards roughly $230 as the next major price target and point of resistance. But obviously between now and then, we have a lot of resistance we first need to pay attention to. And clearly when it comes to the price structure or the trend on the daily time frame, ever since basically here, I've been saying we're clearly within a bullish trend for the price of Solana. That was the point where we officially broke out into new higher highs for the price. And obviously not long after that, we formed a higher low, which is bullish price structure. So for now, we're still currently within this bullish trend. But of course, during a bullish trend from time to time, we can see little cool-offs here and there, which is essentially what we saw over the last 1 week. And one of the causes to this short-term cool-off was, of course, a short-term bearish divergence that played out over the last 1 week here. And obviously this perfectly played out as I talked about, but now just over the last 1 day, we've officially invalidated this bearish divergence with a higher high, a breakout in the price, and of course the RSI. So now that the RSI especially is trending in the bullish direction in the shorter term, this is a sign of strength and telling us that the bearish divergence is no longer playing out. And so honestly, it's a very similar situation for Solana as what I just explained for Ethereum. And with that being said, taking a look at XRP on the daily time frame, right now XRP is bouncing at this key level of support, which is still sitting at just above $2.30, so around 230 to 234, acting as key support. And if we were to break below that level with confirmation, so candle closes confirming below especially 230, in that situation the next major support would be sitting at around 210 to 215. But for now, obviously we're still holding that level of support, still finding a lot of support at around 234. And so this means, at least for now, despite seeing short-term cool-offs here and there, the price structure or the trend on the daily time frame is still currently bullish. We're still forming higher lows and higher highs. So it is quite likely, especially if Bitcoin continues its pump, it's quite likely we'll soon see another test of this significant resistance for the price of XRP soon enough. And this significant resistance is still sitting in between around 255 to 262. And obviously expect a lot of resistance in that area. We've seen many rejections from that area in the past, but once we can finally see a confirmed breakout with candle closes confirming above $2.62, in that situation we'll likely see a relatively quick move up towards around $2.90 to almost $3 as the next target, the next point of resistance. divergence. And if we're zooming further into the shorter term, taking a look at the 3-hour XRP price chart, obviously for the last 1 week, give or take, we've been perfectly playing out this short-term bearish divergence, mostly in the form of a bit of a pullback, followed by some choppy sideways price action, as we can see. But obviously now we're starting to see an uptrend beginning to form in the 3-hour XRP RSI, which is one of the signals telling us that the bearish divergence is no longer playing out. This is a sign of strength for the price, and especially while Bitcoin's pumping, while these other altcoins are invalidating these short-term bearish divergences, once again, a lot of the altcoin market tends to move together. And so overall, don't expect this bearish divergence to play out any longer. In fact, we're likely going to see at least a little bit more of a bullish relief here. Not necessarily the same sort of bullish price action Bitcoin is playing out, at least until Bitcoin already completes its move. And then after that, we can start to see some of these altcoins potentially play catch up. And if we're taking a look at the price of Chainlink on the daily time frame, it's a very similar story for Chainlink as what I've been saying throughout this video. Obviously, right now we're bouncing from very important support, which is still sitting in between 1490 to 1550. So continue to expect a lot of support in that area. And as for resistance, we're potentially now coming in for another test of this significant level of resistance, sitting at roughly around 1750 to 1760. And obviously in the past, we've seen multiple rejections from that level. And obviously, if you've been following this channel for the last couple of weeks, you'll know that I've been talking about this resistance since before we saw this exact perfect rejection here. But once we can finally confirm a breakout with at least a daily candle close confirming above around 1760 and holding that level, in that situation, I would expect a continued bullish move up towards around $20. And then at roughly $20, that's where we'll likely find the next resistance. And remember, despite seeing short-term call-offs here and there from time to time, overall, the trend or the larger price structure on the daily time frame is still bullish. We're still forming higher lows and higher highs and holding above key levels. And of course, we've seen these previous breakouts here, which is all bullish price structure. And overall, while Bitcoin remains bullish, once again, expect bullish price action for a lot of the altcoins. But usually, once again, as I've been saying throughout this video, altcoins tend to lag behind Bitcoin, especially while Bitcoin is seeing a major all-time high breakout. So usually we have to wait for a little bit to start to see more moves in the altcoin market later on. But remember, if you want to get set up ready to go to take these trading opportunities like what I'm doing right now for the price of Bitcoin to easily profit in the crypto market, then make sure to get set up ready to go using the links below this video to those exchanges if you want to claim those massive bonuses that are only available using those links. And if you want to actually know how you can take these trades for yourself to make a lot of easy money, then make sure to watch these videos popping up right here on your screen, because the video in the top left shows you how you can profit from bullish or bearish price action using long positions or short positions, and the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.